All right, Mike. So you said you hadn't watched any film on your opponent. What was your assessment of it?
Yeah, it was everything that my coaches had said. In all honesty, I don't like to make any kind of excuses whatsoever. And I've been in a situation before, but this was the worst I've ever had it. The canvas was so slippery. I literally couldn't exit any of my game plans because my whole game derives around moving my feet, being able to be, agile in and out, land shots, get out. Again, I don't know if people will be able to see it during the fight, but one, I had to change my style. I threw a punch and spun myself around, and he threw a kick and nearly threw himself off. And I can see he was being tentative on his kicks, actually throwing them with any kind of maliciousness. So it's basically because the canvas was so slippery. So I decided to go very traditional boxing style, not throw any kicks, not bounce, which made it a lot harder I made myself an average fighter, which made it a lot harder to cover the ground I needed to land the shots, and then had to kind of play a grappling game, which again I'm happy to do, but don't care for. I want to do a spectacular finish, and have a spectacular fight. But it's what it is.
We'll now open it up to media. Donna?
Michael, you told me in the pre-fight interview, ask me this question afterwards. Where does Ross Houston rank in your opponents?
Again, it's a difficult assessment. He had a few game plans I could see where he was, trying to think smart, counter my attacks instead of, try to instigate any attacks. He did a very nice timed double leg in the first round, I believe, which again, he's waiting for, me to instigate the attacks and counter and get underneath me. But again, it just made everything a lot more difficult. And I feel like I made him look way better than he actually is. And I don't mean that in any, disrespectful way. I just feel like I made him seem that much closer to me simply because I wasn't able to do what I do best.
When do you want to get back in there? I mean, obviously, we usually see you well able to get back in there in a couple of weeks' time because you've knocked someone out in the first couple of minutes. This one went a bit longer. It was a bit more of a strenuous one. And of course, if you want to fight Douglas Lima, you would be sitting out quite a while because he has a fight lined up. When do you want to be back in the cage?
As soon as possible, to be fair. If I have to take one more fight, before Douglas Lima, but as you say, because he's got the fight and then he'll probably have a little bit of time off, then, I'll keep busy and get another fight in between that. But yeah, I just want to be fair, I'm annoyed at that performance. So I kind of want to get back out there and just remind people, who MVP is.
Giancarlo?
Hi, Michael. Congrats on the win. You mentioned there may be getting another fight. This fight was at catchweight, so would welterweight be something appealing to you, or would you consider moving up to 185?
No, to be fair, it just wasn't for us to have to cut the weight. I feel like if, two fighters are able to mutually agree and it's not a title fight, then, it's no one else's business. Spoke to his camp. They were happy. Just made because of all the COVID and having to do a lot of your own weight cuts in your room, not having access to gyms and blah, blah, blah. It just makes it a lot less strenuous on us as an athlete. We already have to train extremely hard just to make it to the event, let alone having the extra stress in that, that last week of the fight. So we made an agreement and just did it there. But I'm happy to, if everything starts to get back to a bit more normality, to get back down to welterweight.
And final question for me, North America, CBS Sports in the States. What do you hope this new partnership with Bellator will do for yourself and the rest of the welterweights in the promotion?
I hope it gives, the amazing, talented fighters here at Bellator the just exposure that they deserve. There's some amazing athletes over here, and we tend to get downplayed because of other bigger organizations. So I think this will help shine the light on the athletes that are here.
Santiago?
Michael, greetings from Amsterdam. Congratulations on a beautiful performance. In the first round, Ross was keeping up with you quite good, but in round 2 and 3, he was clearly fatigued while you were still very energetic. Did you feel that in the cage?
Yeah, definitely. And then in the second round, when I got the takedown, him on the floor, I landed a couple of nice body shots, and then unfortunately landed a shot to the back of the head, which was unintentional because he was moving around so much, which obviously allowed him to stand back up. But I felt if I was able to be there a little bit longer, I definitely would have been able to cause some serious damage there. And even if he did get back up, it would have been a lot easier to maybe get the finish. But yeah, he definitely fatigued in rounds 2 and 3.
Your teammates Elfie Davis and Mike Shipman had pretty good wins as well. Now you joined them on the winners list. This has to be a very good 2 weeks for the London shoot fighters, right?
It's an amazing couple of weeks. And the way we all are, we're all going to not be happy with our performance. I want to get back out there as soon as possible, and just keep shining a light on ourselves and even more importantly, our gym.
And then last thing for me, Michael, you fought all over the world, but I can imagine Amsterdam is a city that's still on your to-do list. Do you think Bellator should visit Amsterdam next year, and would you like to be a part of that?
Oh, no, 100%. I've got many friends in Amsterdam. I love the city. And again, I've said it before, they truly appreciate martial arts and combat because it's just, especially kickboxing, it's been a part of their world for so long, and they're just absolutely amazing at it. So they definitely would appreciate combat sports in MMA. Being over there, and they'll definitely appreciate Bellator specifically going to Amsterdam. And I've done a few London shows when the Dutch, they travelled over, and they make a lot of noise. They were making more noise than the guys from London, which shows you, how passionate they are about the sport. So I'd definitely love to be in an arena just full of them, cheering.
Jay Anderson.
Thanks very much. And Michael, congratulations on the win. You've been fairly critical of your performance tonight, but, you did show a more well-rounded game. Are there any positives you can take away, either proving something to yourself or something to the critics?
No, not really. And the only reason I say that is because I always say I'm not here to try and prove to people that I am a mixed martial artist. I'm here to win fights in the fashion that I would like to win fights, and it just wasn't in that fashion. So this is why I'm heavily critical of my performance. As everybody knows, I love to put on a show. I think this was a landmark event, and I really wish I was able to execute what I wanted to do. Yes, I may have been able to show other areas of my game, but I know I'm capable in those areas. I know a lot of people, just because they don't see it, they assume that it's just not there. But I just don't care to prove to people that it is. My teammates get to see my game. My coach gets to see my game. In the gym, many people, I've sparred many UFC fighters, ONE FC fighters, all these other different shows that are, high level. I've sparred many of them because we do a lot of cross training. They all know my game because, just you get to see a lot more. You get to be a bit more confident when you're sparring. So yeah, for me, it's just about executing a performance that I would want to, and that wasn't it.
And you mentioned, you might have to take another fight before a potential bout with Douglas Lima because he is going up in weight. What are your thoughts on these double champ pursuits? Because the side effect is that they can stall divisions.
Yeah, I think I can't remember what interview it was that I was speaking to someone, and I basically said the same thing. I don't particularly care for it. I think it's a bit of a fashion trend that McGregor has kind of kickstarted within the MMA world. I get it in terms of the individual. It shows an amazing achievement to being able to go up a weight division or down a weight division, whichever it is, and take another belt. But as you say, it does hold up a lot of the division, and then you have to do these interim belts, and it just becomes messy. And I think our sport as a whole, for average fans looking at, you want it to be as simple as possible, especially now. And I think just having one champ per division keeps it that simplicity. So when people are tuning in and watching and following stories that are going on, it's easier for them to want to stay and commit to the sport. Especially now when we're constantly having to prove ourselves as athletes and not barbarians. So for now, for me personally, I think it's better to just keep it as simple as possible at the moment. But again, at the same time, on the flip side, I do understand for the individuals the achievement it is to say that you've got 2 belts.
Luis Morales.
MVP, you handed Houston his first pro loss, maybe not in a flashy but definitely convincing way. So you keep winning, you keep getting better. What could go different in the rematch you expect against Douglas Lima?
You know what, I just feel like I'd be able to execute the game plan that I feel like I was successfully executing up until that point. I made a few mistakes, one being a little bit overconfident after rocking Lima. Everyone saw his legs go. I noticed it as well. And I started to put my foot, position myself a little bit too close to Lima. And, a lot of people said, even my father said a long time ago to me, a wounded tiger is still dangerous. And I forgot that in that moment, which allowed him to get the sweep on me, which was badly timed again on my part and really well timed on his. And then again, because of me wanting to be over eager and get back to my feet and continue that successful run at that time, I ended up popping up in a completely stupid way. It's something that you learn the second you join an MMA gym in terms of how to get up. I decided to ignore all of that in my eagerness and my overexcitement. So I feel, the second time round, I don't believe Lima's going to change too much. He's an established athlete that's been in the game a long time and is very predictable, in my opinion, but just amazing at what he does. I just feel like I can win that fight.
We'll take a couple more questions. Lenny?
How's it going, MVP? And congratulations on the impressive performance today.
Thank you.
You mentioned there a few questions ago that you said the canvas was slippery and how it affected your performance. Do you think that there should be a different way Bellator should disinfect the cage and still it be safe, and so you can, it helps all fighters like yourself?
Well, I was speaking to some of the guys backstage, and supposedly this particular canvas isn't the one that they would usually use. So whatever it is that, and it's weird. A fight that I had against Nashon Burrell, near enough the same thing happened. It wasn't as slippery as today, but it was slippery. So again, I had to slightly doctor my style, and people might be just think I'm just saying it, but if you look back at these kind of fights, you'll see the difference in how I competed in those events. And this one again today, I was rubbing my feet a lot at the beginning trying to get my grip, and there's just certain patches specifically as well as I was moving that just said to me, if I throw a crazy kick or if I leap in like I would normally do, I'm going to end up slipping. I'm going to end up on the floor. I'm going to end up potentially having him on top of me for 3 rounds and allowing him to win a fight that, again, for me, it doesn't warrant him actually winning that fight because I just wasn't able to execute. So I had to change my style completely. I turned myself into a bit of a flat-footed boxer, which again, if you watch any of my fights, is just not my style. My hands were up. I had to be a lot more cautious. I couldn't throw kicks. And this is all the things that makes MVP. So hopefully I'm going to, speak to the guys and just hopefully there can be some form of consistency from show to show, because I don't really want to walk back in and, find out that, especially during COVID, I couldn't even really come and test out the canvas beforehand to even doctor my plan ahead of schedule, because you're not really allowed to be in and around the arena until that time. So hopefully they get it sorted out.
Rick Sanchez?
Yes, congratulations on the win. This is a question from your fans. They say to me, "We seen you in your anime. You love anime and your anime gear." The question is from your fans is, who's your favorite anime character and why is it very meant to you?
To keep it simple, I've got so many different, I love too many characters. In terms of what this particular character represents, one is one of the biggest shows in, the anime world, being Naruto. And I'm going to give it to Naruto simply because of, I kind of just like what he represents in terms of, almost like not being the talented one, but constantly wanting to work hard and prove yourself, not necessarily being liked, but constantly just pushing yourself to just go for your goals in spite of these things, not being raised in, you know, the best of circumstances, but still managing to make it to the top regardless, and just having that type of mentality. And I think just for kids to watch, it's a great animation because of the lessons that it teaches you, just following his story. Again, there's many other characters that I like for even like different reasons in terms of style and their powers and, you know, their particular, you know, thing that they do. But in terms of storyline and what he represents as an animation, you know, as almost an idol in you know, their own right for the people that actually wrote those stories, Naruto definitely gets it.
Our final question comes from the line of Chris DeSantiago. Go ahead, Chris.
Hi, MVP. How's it going?
All good, all good.
So Douglas Lima recently tweeted, "I'm here waiting for a true contender." What do you have to say to that?
Yeah, you know what? You know, I've been extremely active as soon as I lost that fight. You know, I keep pushing. It does feel like more and more every fight that I have now, he is you know, more and more trying to undermine what I'm doing, and I think it's simply because I think he and I both know how close that fight was, and sorry, not even how close it was, how much success that I was getting during that fight up until that point. He even admitted it afterwards, how fast I was. You know, he's never come up against anybody with that kind of speed. He said all these amazing things that had a lot to say about me as an athlete directly after the fight. And now that I want to get back in, I think he doesn't want that. You know, I think he's almost as worried about what could happen the second time round, which is why he's near enough every fight I hear something from him that basically suggests he doesn't want to make this fight happen again. Which for me just means I live in his head. I'm happy, and I'll like Naruto, I will keep pushing. I will keep pushing until we both end up back in that cage.
All right. Thanks for the time, Michael. Congratulations.
Thank you.